Imagine you are living a legendary love story that began in space. In the introduction to his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray tells us a charming symbolic tale through which he reveals the great secret of relationships. He tells of the Martians, who, once upon a time, were observing the sky with their telescopes and discovered a splendid world called Venus. There they found the Venusians, completely different from them. Yet deep inside, a spark of irresistible love was born. The Martians did not wait long. They invented spaceships, set off to Venus, and the Venusians welcomed them with open hearts and warm arms. Soon both sides fell into a deep, sincere love, full of admiration for their differences. They knew clearly, we are not alike, and yet we love each other more because of this difference. But after a time, they decided to live together on planet Earth. And here the great problem happened. Each of them forgot that they came from a different planet. The Martian forgot he was from Mars, and the Venusian forgot she was from Venus. So each side began to expect the other to think, feel, and act exactly as if they were a copy of themselves. This caused conflicts, misunderstandings, and frustration. Here John Gray whispers to us the entire philosophy of his book. When we realize that men truly are from Mars and women are from Venus, we will stop taking differences so personally. We will learn to give love and support in the way our partner needs it, not in the way we ourselves prefer. This introduction is not just a fictional story. It is an invitation to radically change your view of love and relationships, to see your partner as they are, coming from another planet with different nature, feelings, and priorities. So you learn the language of their planet, and understanding grows between you, and love flourishes. And thus, John Gray opens the door for us in the introduction of this book to prepare to discover precious lessons about communication, respect, and understanding the different needs of men and women, so that we may revive that legendary love which was lost when each of us forgot we came from a different world. Do you know why sometimes it feels like you're speaking a language your partner doesn't understand at all? In the first chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray begins to uncover the deep roots of the differences between men and women. He says simply, men truly are from Mars, and women really are from Venus. It's not just a poetic expression, but a metaphorical truth that explains why we clash in our relationships. When the Martians lived on their planet, their values revolved around achievement, competence, strength, and independence. A Martian man felt his worth through his ability to accomplish goals, solve problems, and prove himself. So if he faced a problem, he would withdraw into his cave to think alone until he found a solution. For him, this was a matter of self-respect and respect for others. As for the Venusians, they were completely different. On planet Venus, values revolved around love, beauty, communication, and human relationships. A Venusian woman felt her worth through emotions, sharing, and mutual support. So when she faced a challenge, she would look to talk about it and share her feelings in order to feel closeness and comfort. Here begins the first misunderstanding on planet Earth. When the man withdraws into his silence, the woman thinks he's ignoring her or doesn't care. And when the woman starts talking about her problems, the man thinks she's asking for solutions, so he rushes to give advice instead of offering empathy. John Gray explains that each of them is acting naturally according to the values of their original planet. But the problem arises
when we fail to realize that the other is different from us in their love map and ways of communicating. A man feels loved when his independence is appreciated and he's given space to solve his problems on his own. A woman feels loved when someone listens to her and shares her feelings without judgment or quick fixes. And here lies the great secret. Don't expect your partner to act like you or want what you want. Learn their language, and you will open doors of understanding between you that you never dreamed of. And thus, John Gray lays down in this chapter the foundation for understanding the rest of the book. That the success of your relationship does not begin with changing your partner, but by understanding that you are from two different worlds, and that true love is when you learn how to embrace this difference with awareness and gratitude.
Have you ever noticed that when you complain about something, your partner immediately starts suggesting solutions while all you really wanted was for him to understand your feelings? This is exactly what John Gray talks about in the second chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, under the title, Mr. Fix-It and the Home Improvement Committee. Here, John Gray explains to us one of the most annoying and debate-provoking differences between men and women. The Martian man, Mr. Fix-It. By nature, the man sees himself as a fixer of problems. When he hears his wife or girlfriend talk about something that bothers her, he immediately believes she is looking for a solution, so his mind starts working like a computer to solve the problem as quickly as possible. Here, he feels his worth because he thinks that offering a solution is the best way to show his love and support. The Venusian woman, Home Improvement Committee. As for the woman, she seeks through talking to share her feelings and to feel closeness and emotional support. For her, talking about the problem is in itself the healing. It is the path to strengthening the relationship, not necessarily to find an immediate solution. She sees conversation as an opportunity to improve bonds, to communicate, not to fix a malfunction. And here, the clash happens. The man immediately offers advice and solutions. The woman feels she is not heard or that her feelings are not taken seriously. He, in turn, feels frustrated because he tried to help her in his way, but she did not appreciate his effort. Here, John Gray gives us a lesson. A man needs to learn sometimes to just listen without trying to fix anything, and to show his understanding and empathy. And a woman needs to realize that when he offers her advice, this is not ignoring her feelings, but an expression of his love in his own way. And so, this chapter reveals to us a beautiful and profound truth. We love in completely different ways, and when we understand these ways, we stop feeling that the other does not care, and we begin to appreciate his unique language of love. It is an invitation for each of us to learn to give our partner what they truly need, not what we ourselves like to give. Only then does communication between Mars and Venus become possible, even full of warmth and acceptance.
Imagine you are in your hardest moment, and you decide to withdraw to your own private space to think calmly, while your partner at that very same moment wants to get closer to you and talk about what they're feeling. This is exactly what John Gray explains to us in the third chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, under the title, Men Go to Their Caves and Women Talk. The Martian Man and His Cave. When a man faces pressure, problems, or feels exhausted, he instinctively withdraws into his inner cave. This might appear as him sitting in front of the TV, immersing himself in his work, or diving into his phone. He simply needs to isolate himself a bit to rearrange his thoughts alone without interference.
This does not mean he no longer loves or that he is necessarily angry. Rather, it is his way of dealing with stress and finding solutions within himself. And this moment is precious to him, and if disturbed during it, he feels even more pressure. The Venus woman and sharing. As for the woman, when she is under pressure or negative emotions, she needs to talk about it, to pour out what's inside her and share her feelings, not to get solutions, but to feel heard and understood. Through talking, she calms down, feels reassured, and regains her emotional balance. And here, the clash happens. The man withdraws into his cave, so the woman feels he is ignoring her or does not care about her feelings. The woman starts talking about what is bothering her, and the man thinks she is blaming him or adding more pressure on him while he needs his silence. And what John Gray suggests? That the woman learns to respect the man's need for a little isolation without taking it as a rejection of her, and that the man learns to come back after he leaves his cave to give her the attention and listening that she needs. And that they both understand together that their different ways of dealing with stress does not mean a lack of love, but simply a difference in nature. And thus, in this chapter, John Gray gives us a golden key among the keys to relationships. When we understand why men withdraw and why women talk, we stop misinterpreting each other's behaviors. We start giving the other what they truly need, not what we think they need. And this simple understanding that a man needs his cave and a woman needs sharing may be enough to reduce much of the drama and misunderstanding and open the door to true peace between Mars and Venus.
Have you ever given everything you had to make your partner happy, only to be surprised that they didn't appreciate it the way you expected? In the 4th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray reveals to us a precious secret about how we motivate the opposite sex and make them feel loved and supported, but in the way they need, not the way we need. How do you motivate a man? Men feel their greatest drive when they feel appreciated and trusted. When a man sees that his partner trusts his ability to accomplish, respects him, and does not always try to change or criticize him, his emotional energy flourishes and he becomes more eager to give and love. John Gray says, "The greatest motivator for a man is to feel that the woman believes in him and gives him space to prove himself and be useful to her. So when you show him appreciation even for his small efforts and thank him instead of demanding more, this makes him naturally want to do even more. It's like an internal fuel that flows when he feels he is a hero in your eyes." How do you motivate a woman? As for women, they are motivated by continuous care and attention to emotional details. She does not need a solution to her problems as much as she needs to know that you are by her side, listening to her, sharing her feelings, and valuing her emotions. John Gray likens a woman's heart to a plant that needs frequent watering. It's not enough to give her one huge dose of attention and then neglect her. Rather, it is better to consistently show her small initiatives of love and tenderness. This way she feels safe, blossoms more, and responds to you with warm feelings that make the relationship grow stronger. Here is the common mistake. The man thinks that what motivates him is the same thing that motivates the woman. So he focuses on achievements and neglects the small emotional details. And the woman believes that what makes her happy will make him happy. So she showers him with care and advice while he really wants to feel that you trust his ability first. And the big lesson John Gray gives us in this chapter is, if you want to make your partner more giving and happy, don't treat them the way you like to be treated,
but the way they actually need to be treated. When we love wisely, in the way of Mars and Venus, we fill our partner's love tank in the way that benefits them, and it comes back to us many times over in a beautiful cycle of mutual love and appreciation.
Have you ever felt that you are talking to your partner, but your message reaches them completely distorted, as if they are hearing a strange language? In the 5th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray reveals to us a wonderful and shocking truth at the same time. Man and woman speak two completely different languages, even when they use the same words. The language of Martians, men usually communicate to convey information or to solve a specific problem. Their speech is direct, focused on what do we do now? And they minimize emotional details because in their view, these are not necessary to reach the solution. When a man speaks, he often means the literal meaning of the words, without hidden messages. The language of Venusians, women, as for women, they communicate to create bonds, to share feelings, and to express what is inside them. They use conversation as a means of emotional closeness, filling their words with hints and emotions not clearly apparent in the words alone. For a woman, what she says may sometimes be a symbol of what she feels, not just literal information. And here the confusing clash happens. When the woman says, "You never spend time with me," she often does not mean never literally, but means I miss you and I need you more right now. The man hears it literally and protests, "What do you mean? We were together last week." So the emotional meaning is completely lost. John Gray clarifies in this chapter that the key to understanding lies in realizing that we do not interpret words in the same way. The man needs to learn to listen to what is behind the words when the woman speaks, to ask himself, what is she feeling now? What does she need from me emotionally? And the woman needs to learn to be clearer in expressing what she actually needs, without always expecting him to read between the lines. The essential message of this chapter: we are not only from two different planets, but we also speak two different emotional languages. And understanding these languages is what protects our relationship from painful mistranslation. And when we become aware of this, we begin to communicate with greater consciousness. The man trains himself to listen to what the woman feels, not just what she says. And the woman trains herself to state her needs clearly and calmly. And thus Mars and Venus come a little closer, and the shared language between them becomes love itself.
Imagine you're speaking to your partner in the same language, but each of you understands the other's words in a completely different way. This is exactly what John Gray explains in the 5th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, which is titled, Men and Women Speak Different Languages Even Though They Use the Same Words. How do men speak? Men, being Martians, use language to express facts, provide solutions, and show competence. Their speech is often direct and clear, focused on what needs to be done, aiming to solve the problem with the least amount of side emotions. For example, if his partner says, "I'm tired," he might simply respond, "Go and sleep," because he understood it as a statement that needs a solution. How do women speak? As for women, being Venusians, they use language to express their feelings and to strengthen emotional bonds. Their words may sometimes be symbolic or poetic or charged with emotional hints that they do not intend in a literal sense. For example, when a woman says, "You never care about me," she is actually expressing a momentary feeling of needing attention, not literally meaning that he has never cared for her. And here misunderstanding occurs. The man hears her words literally, feels unjustly accused of neglect, and begins to defend himself, and perhaps the conversation turns into an argument. While she, in the first place, is not looking for a solution or a debate, but only for someone to embrace her feelings and empathize with her. What does John Gray want us to understand? that men and women use the same words but with different dictionaries. Deep love and connection begin when we learn to translate the other's language. The man learns to hear behind her words, "I need your closeness and attention right now," instead of clinging to the literal meaning. And the woman tries to express more clearly what she needs, saying, for example, "I want to feel that you are by my side," instead of, "You never care about me." The essence of this chapter is that man and woman do not only need to talk, but to learn how to translate each other's languages. For words alone are not enough unless we understand the feelings they carry. And thus, we shed light on a new side of the relationship, that true communication is not only in exchanging words, but in listening with our hearts and gently translating our differences, so that we meet halfway, where true love resides.
Have you ever felt that your partner got very close to you, then suddenly withdrew for no obvious reason? As if he grew cold, and then came back again as if nothing had happened. In the 6th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray uses a very clever metaphor to explain this puzzling behavior. The man is like a rubber band. He needs to pull away in order to spring back. Now, what is meant by the rubber band? When a man gets emotionally close to a woman, he feels a moment of beautiful connection, but after a while, instinctually, he feels the need to pull back a little and regain his inner balance and autonomy. Exactly like a rubber band. It stretches backwards, then springs forward powerfully once it gets the distance it needs. The mistake many women fall into: when the man starts to withdraw, the woman feels anxious, thinking he has lost interest, or is angry, or no longer loves her. So she begins to chase after him with questions, blame, or trying to pull the band toward her before it has completed its stretch. And this, unintentionally, increases the man's feeling of suffocation, so he pulls away even more. But if the woman understood this natural pattern in the man and gave him the space he needs, without blame or pressure or fear, he would return much faster and come back closer and more loving than before. John Gray explains that the man does not pull away because he does not love, but because he needs to feel that he is still himself, strong, free, and in control of himself. And when he feels okay inside, he returns to his beloved with longing and a sincere desire to get close again. The golden lesson from this chapter: when the man pulls away, don't chase him, but give him trust and space. If he is truly like a rubber band, he will come back to you with the powerful push of love. And thus, John Gray teaches us a deep psychological lesson in a simple phrase: that love does not mean excessive clinging, but that you give the other what he needs so that he longs for you by his own choice, and that you understand the role of distance in the relationship, not as a threat, but as a natural movement between Mars and Venus. Have you ever noticed that your partner is at the peak of happiness and love, then a few days later, for no obvious reason, sinks into feelings of sadness or distress? This is exactly what John Gray explains in the 7th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, using a beautiful metaphor. A woman is like a wave. Her emotions rise and fall naturally. What does it mean that a woman is like a wave? A woman's feelings by nature go through changing cycles, exactly like the tides. When her wave is high, she feels love, enthusiasm, and the ability to give generously. But inevitably comes a time when her wave dips, and she feels distress or becomes more sensitive and in need of support. This dip does not mean there is something wrong in the relationship or that you have done something. It is simply a natural part of her psychological and emotional balance. What does a woman need when her wave dips? At that moment, she does not need advice or solutions, nor someone to tell her, calm down, everything is fine.
Rather, she needs to feel safe and embraced, that you listen to her, are patient with her feelings, and gently reassure her that you are there for her no matter what her state. And when this period passes, her wave rises again, and her feelings of love and gratitude return in an even greater flood. Where do men usually go wrong? When a man sees the woman's wave dip, he thinks he's required to fix it immediately, or believes he's the cause of her sadness, so he feels helpless or gets annoyed. Or he might withdraw, fleeing from what he sees as unjustified drama, which only increases her pain and sense of insecurity. What does John Gray suggest? Do not take her emotional fluctuations personally, and do not see them as an attack on you or the relationship. Instead, be present beside her, reassuring and supportive, and you'll find that her wave will rise again faster and with deeper love. The essence this chapter offers. A woman is like a wave. She needs to dip in order to rise again. And if a man learns how to embrace this cycle instead of resisting it, he will enjoy a wider love and a truer bond. And thus John Gray teaches us a wonderful lesson, that true love does not mean we are always at the peak, but that we understand each other's emotional nature and give each other the space to live it safely, so that we come back together afterwards stronger and closer than ever before.
Do you know that what makes you feel loved might mean almost nothing to your partner? In the 8th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray takes us to the heart of successful relationships, discovering the different emotional needs of both man and woman. What does a man need emotionally? John Gray explains that deep down, men need above all to feel that they are trusted, that their partner appreciates and respects them, that they are accepted as they are without a constant attempt to correct or change them. A man feels loved when he sees that his partner believes in him and his abilities and gives him space to be himself, strong, capable, and free. And what about the woman? As for the woman, she feels loved when she receives genuine attention, that the man shows her he notices her and values her presence. Understanding and empathy for her feelings, not quick solutions. Reassurance and the comfort of knowing she is important to him and that he is always there to support her. She needs him to listen to her, share her feelings, and clearly express his affection. And here happens the deepest misunderstanding in relationships. The man gives the woman what he needs, for example, freedom or trust, while she may be in desperate need of tenderness and attentive listening. And the woman gives the man what she needs, such as continuous care and asking about details, while he prefers to feel accepted without pressure. What does John Gray recommend? Learn how to discover your partner's true needs, not what you think they need, and give these needs generously, even if they are sometimes different from what you believe is right. The profound conclusion of this chapter: love is not measured by what we like to give, but by what the one we love needs. And when the woman understands the language of the man's needs, and the man discovers the language of the woman's heart, Mars and Venus meet halfway, in a relationship where each fulfills the other with what truly nourishes them. And thus the relationship becomes fertile ground where feelings flourish, and where both partners grow together.
Have you noticed how the simplest conversation can suddenly turn into a bitter argument without even knowing how you got there? In the 9th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray puts his finger on a very sensitive wound in relationships. Why we suddenly find ourselves in the heart of an argument and how to avoid it from the start. Why do arguments erupt in the first place?
John Gray explains that most arguments do not start because of a big problem, but as a result of a small misunderstanding that grows. Because man and woman speak different emotional languages, as in the previous chapters, each often interprets the other's words incorrectly, feels threatened, and responds either defensively or with attack. Thus, a simple conversation turns into a battlefield where each side is busy proving they're right instead of solving the problem. What does the man usually do? When a man feels blame or criticism, he closes his heart and becomes defensive and may respond with coldness or sarcasm to protect himself from feeling like a failure. And what does the woman do? As for the woman, when she feels that the man is not listening or is minimizing her feelings, she becomes more emotional and pushes harder to express her pain, which makes the man pull away even more. Here lies the essence of what John Gray says. Behind every argument, there are unspoken emotional messages, wounded feelings asking to be acknowledged. How can we avoid the argument? The man needs to learn not to always take the woman's words literally and not to see them as accusations, but to see the pain behind her words. And the woman needs to express her feelings clearly but gently, without direct accusation or hurtful generalizations like, "You're always like this," or "You never do that." It is also important that both decide to pause when the heat of the discussion rises, to take a breath and restore balance, instead of being dragged into a spiral of accusations. The profound conclusion of this chapter is, avoiding arguments does not mean suppressing your feelings or ignoring your problems, but learning how to express and listen in a way that protects love instead of crushing it. And thus, John Gray teaches us that many conflicts can be avoided with some understanding, patience, and awareness that we are not really fighting to prove who is wrong. We just need to listen to each other with our hearts, so we can rebuild the bridge between Mars and Venus again and again.
Imagine you give your partner a small gift, thinking it doesn't mean much, while in their world it equals a mountain of love. In the 10th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray reveals to us an idea that is both delightful and strange at the same time, that men and women count points in a relationship in completely different ways. How do men count points? The Martian man often believes that the size of what he gives equals the number of points he earns in his partner's heart. So, he sees that if he gives a big gift, or does something huge, like paying for a trip or buying an expensive present, this equals 100 points or more. Therefore, he may neglect the small gestures, thinking it's fine to be busy afterward since he has already secured a large balance. What about the woman? The Venusian woman has a completely different system. She gives one single point for each expression of love and support, regardless of its size. A small kiss, a phone call, a simple gift, a sweet message, his sincere listening to her, all equal 1 point in her calculation. Likewise, the expensive gift or big surprise also equals 1 point. What makes the difference for her is not the size of the act, but its repetition and consistency. And here arises the confusion. The man thinks that by one big act he has paid the bill for the relationship for a long time, while the woman needs a continuous flow of small gestures to feel secure and loved, like drops of water watering her emotional plant every day. What does John Gray recommend? The man needs to realize that the simple, repeated actions mean a great deal to the woman, so he should not neglect a kind word, a tender touch, or a warm question about her day. And the woman should understand the nature of the man and thank him for his gestures, no matter how small, because appreciation fuels his motivation to give more. The wonderful conclusion of this chapter is, love does not lie in the size of what you give, but in its repetition and warmth. When you understand how your partner counts points, you can fill their heart with true happiness, without wasting your efforts on acts that don't reach them the way you expect. And thus, John Gray teaches us in this chapter how to become smarter in expressing our love so we give the other what they truly need to feel loved every day and in the simplest ways.
Do you find it difficult to tell your partner what bothers you out of fear that you might hurt them or wound them or destroy the relationship? In the 11th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray addresses a very delicate topic: how to express your difficult feelings like anger, frustration, hurt in a way that does not harm your partner and does not spoil the love between you. Why is this important? Because we often suppress our negative feelings out of fear of the other's reaction, or the opposite. We pour them out in a hurtful anger that destroys trust and plants fear. John Gray explains that expressing painful feelings is an essential part of a healthy relationship, but it needs awareness and gentleness. So what do most of us do? When a man feels hurt, he may close himself off and avoid talking, appearing cold or uninterested. And when a woman is in pain, she may release hurtful words or generalize, like, "You never care about me," which provokes the man's defensiveness instead of his empathy. What does John Gray suggest? He offers a simple and profound way. Speak about your feelings using I statements, not in the form of accusation. For example, "I feel sad when you don't ask about my day," instead of "You never care about me." Express what you need clearly and with tenderness, like, "It would be wonderful if you asked me how my day went. It makes me feel close to you." Give your partner the chance to listen without interruption and be ready to listen as well when they share what they feel. The golden summary of this chapter is hard feelings should not turn into yelling or blame, but into deeper bridges of frankness and honesty. When you learn to say what hurts you in the language of love, even your pain becomes a way to come closer, not to drift apart. And thus, John Gray teaches us one of the most precious arts of relationship: to reveal our hearts without fear and without harshness, to be honest and sincere, but also gentle in the way we tell the truth. Only then does dialogue become healing, and even moments of pain turn into opportunities to grow together.
Has it ever happened that you needed your partner's support badly, but when you asked for it, you didn't get what you expected, and maybe the gap between you even grew wider? In the 12th chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray addresses one of the most important relationship skills: how to ask your partner for support and make sure you actually get it instead of frustration or conflict. Why do we usually make mistakes when asking for support? John Gray says that many people think their partner should just know by themselves what they need. But the truth is that men and women differ in expressing needs. The man does not like to be asked strongly or in a commanding tone. He feels pressured and loses his desire to give. And the woman often hints or expects him to notice what she needs without asking directly, then feels disappointed when he doesn't pay attention. What is the correct way to ask for support? John Gray suggests 3 simple but very effective secrets. 1. Ask clearly, simply, and gently. Say exactly what you need without accusation or blame. "Can you help me wash the dishes tonight?" instead of "You never help me with anything." 2. Ask for something specific and small. Big, vague requests exhaust the man, but small, clear requests make him feel successful, so he wants to do more later. 3. Show appreciation quickly. When he fulfills your request, immediately express your happiness and gratitude. This appreciation fuels his drive to give even more. And the woman also needs support in this way. John Gray advises men to give the woman what she needs sometimes without waiting for her to ask, through small initiatives of care, because by her nature, the woman does not like to always have to ask for everything. The core message of this chapter:
When you know how to ask for what you want in the right way, your partner becomes happy to meet your needs, and you feel love and support instead of neglect and complaints. And thus, John Gray teaches us that the relationship is not a guessing game, but an honest partnership, that we ask clearly for what we need in a gentle style that encourages the other to give, so that love and support flow between Mars and Venus without obstacles.
Have you ever asked yourself why at the beginning of a relationship everything is magical and full of passion? Then with time, this magic fades as if love has dulled. In the 13th and final chapter of his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, John Gray addresses the most important question in any long-term relationship. How do we keep the magic of love alive, not for a few months, but for many years? Why does the magic disappear? John Gray explains that the start of a relationship is usually full of natural excitement, attraction, discovery, constant admiration. But with time, daily pressures and routine cause us to lose focus on meeting each other's emotional needs. The man starts forgetting the small initiatives that used to make her happy. And the woman gets preoccupied with her worries and forgets to show the appreciation that used to draw him closer. Thus, boredom or coldness enters without us noticing. What keeps love alive? John Gray gives us a recipe that is simple but miraculous if we commit to it. Number 1, continuing the small gestures. Do not underestimate a simple bouquet of flowers, a warm morning message, a surprise hug. The woman sees these gestures as living proof of love, and the man feels like a hero when he sees her smile because of them. Number 2, listening and empathizing without conditions. Listening to your partner with attention, even if he or she talks about things you think are trivial, alone deepens the bond and rekindles the closeness. Number 3, continuous renewal. Try new activities together. Travel, change your usual outing places. Anything that breaks the routine and adds a small adventure. And number 4, reviving physical and emotional passion. Expressing love physically and continuing to flirt and be playful just like in the early days. The deepest thing John Gray says here is, love is not something we secure once and for all, but a garden we have to water every day. And the more we care for it, the more it blooms even after periods of drought. Thus, John Gray concludes his journey between Mars and Venus with a golden rule. To keep the magic of love does not mean there are never problems, but that you know how to come back every time with wisdom, patience, and small acts that light up the heart, making love new despite the passing years. And exactly here lies the secret of a happy, long-lasting relationship. To not take love for granted, but to live it with gratitude, and to renew our small promises to each other every day.
And so, after this enchanting journey between Mars and Venus, we discover how much deeper and more beautiful love becomes when we understand our differences instead of resisting them. When we give each other what we truly need, not what we ourselves think is appropriate. When we learn to listen with our hearts, embrace our feelings and the feelings of those we love, and water the gardens of our relationship every day with small gestures that keep the magic alive. Imagine how our relationships would change if we only applied these simple secrets that John Gray revealed to us. The secrets of trust, attentive listening, tenderness, and reassurance. Then love would not just be an old promise, but a constantly renewed spring that nourishes us and brings us closer day after day. If you found something in this summary that touched your heart, don't forget to support us by subscribing to our channel, Audiobook Vault, so you can receive more of these inspiring journeys through books that change minds and refresh souls. And tell us in the comments, which idea from this book felt like it was written especially for you? See you on a new adventure with another book. And always remember our motto, keep listening, keep growing.